From the left, the right, from the radical to the uncommitted, they came. Whatever the figures, without doubt, one of the largest gatherings, let alone protest rallies, in English history. It was the day the police simply banished the car from central London. Preparations from first light. In the frosty air, early morning political warm-up acts.
America's no stranger who breaks stacks of resolutions. Peace, God talking peace, 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 God talking peace.
Celebrity campaigners out of bed and out in force.
This is a historical day. This is going to be a great day to remember for people throughout the world.
I would very much like to be able to say to Tony Blair and George Bush that we elect you to actually represent us. We are the people, and you are ruled by us, and we say no to war.
This was the Northern March, already forming up hours before the noon start time. Thousands had had a pretty early start of it to get down here in time. Hundreds of coaches booked. Chartered trains from Manchester and across the country.
Even though United are playing, I think it's probably better to come to London because it's to try and stop the war.
Over at the Hyde Park rally, the rail union boss Bob Crow promised Tony Blair that if there is war, the Prime Minister ain't seen nothing yet.
And if war does break out, we should turn around and say that we're prepared to occupy our industries and not be prepared to allow for a war to take place anywhere throughout the world.
And this was the embankment, tens of thousands forming up on the second of the feeder marches. From the north, the south, the east and the west. From the left, the right, from the radical to the uncommitted, they came.
Birmingham.
London. From Bedford.
Cumbria. London. Slough Newington.
From Banbury.
Wellingborough. Northamptonshire.
From Indonesia.
North Wales. Sheffield.
South London.
Birmingham.
Yeah, I come from Bristol, man.
Many say they'd never known an atmosphere quite like it. Could that be in part because so many were moved to protest for the first time?
I think the world's going mad. I just feel it's got to be stopped somewhere. Because after this, it'd be something else. It'd be another war after war. We've got to stop it.
Because I can see it escalating into something far wider that we just won't be able to stop.
The rally at Hyde Park was underway many hours before the feeder marches had even finished starting, so to speak. Tariq Ali's seen a demo or two in his time, but he told me he'd never ever seen anything like this.
Friends, we are here today to show Tony Blair and to tell him openly that if one country needs a regime change at the moment, it's Britain. In times of crisis, it is necessary to bring down a Prime Minister. Bring Blair down!
And so we're at Piccadilly Circus, where the two large marches fuse to become one even bigger one and head to the rally at Hyde Park. Well, we can argue forever about the validity of opinion polls, but what surely matters today is that this proposed war by Britain is historically unpopular. And the mother of all focus groups has descended on London to bring that fact home to Tony Blair today.
They just kept on coming. Noon and the police reckoned 150,000 were here. Mid-afternoon, it was 1/3 and counting. By late afternoon, the organisers certainly had a different view.
And our numbers now, we believe, are getting on towards 2 million people marching for peace in London today on this International Day of Demonstration Against War.
Whatever the figures, without doubt, one of the largest gatherings, let alone protest rallies, in English history.
We will lose this war. It will be a failure. All it will achieve is to be the best recruiting agent that the terrorists could hope for.
The United States is a monster out of control. Unless we challenge it with absolute determination, American barbarism will destroy the world.
And, of course, no gathering like this would be complete without George.
I have to tell you, I would rather be eating cheese, reading Sartre on the banks of the River Seine than taking popcorn with the born-again, Bible-belting, fundamentalist Republican administration in Crawford, Texas, execution capital of the world.
And since we're discussing religion, from early morning it was clear that Muslim groups would this time be playing a large part in proceedings.
Well, the first message is that this is a great alliance, a great coalition between the Muslims and the non-Muslims who agree on the basic values of humanity, of saving mankind from catastrophe.
Some minor argy-bargy outside the US Embassy in Grosvenor Square, where else? But the leader of the 4,500 police on duty said this affair would be peaceful, and pretty much it was.
It's very easy to just sit at home and do nothing, and I thought, no, I'll do something to show my position, really.
I'm a Quaker, and we have a peace testament, and war not at any price.
We're just trying to show that the popular misconception that Americans are pro-war is false.
As ever, some just had their own agenda, but it was left to the only party political leader on the platform to suggest that Parliament perhaps should have some say if we're going to war.
The House of Commons should be given the right, which so far it has been denied, the right of a vote on whether we believe our forces should be sent into battle in that way.
Tonight, some protesters are mounting a sit-in in Piccadilly, but for most it's a tired and perhaps a long journey home. If you thought the Countryside Alliance March was big, think again. And all this just when we were persuading ourselves perhaps that we're becoming more selfish and are bored with politics. Well, politics has rarely seemed so interesting to many, and Tony Blair has never appeared so isolated since he took the office of Prime Minister. Alex Thompson, Channel 4 News, Central London.